Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. Today is our last and final day of our instruction part of the residency. Today is entitled Word Art Part 2. So this is the second video to the completion of your word art project. And it's going to be very similar to the last instruction, where I'll do a little bit of talking and kind of conversation in this video, and then the actual process part I'll show you through a jump rope video that'll show you the step-by-steps that you have to take for creating the final part of your word art. So I wanted to first off apologize because I think the material for Wednesday got out late to you all, so you're not getting it until today. And so that may put you behind a little bit. So I'm hoping that you'll get at least an extra day. I'll talk with Ms. Bowles about that, but at least Monday to be able to work before handing in all of your stuff back to the school for me to kind of look through and choose final images for this exhibit. So let's talk a little bit about this process. So today, remember in the brown bag, there are some other materials that came in that bag that you may have not recognized or not understood for the purpose of them. And so today is actually the day that we're going to be using those. So in the bag, you should have these like color pieces of paper. You should also have a glue stick. You should have a cup of glue, and this is called Well Bond. This is actually a very strong glue, a strong adhesive. It's stronger than Elmer's, so be careful when you're using it. Once you're done using this particular glue, make sure that you're washing your hands. You can use one of your tiny brushes because you're going to be using that to glue some stuff on. So those are the main things that you're going to be using. In addition to those things, I want you to go around your house and I want you to look for any loose things, loose objects, very like kind of light in nature, not too heavy, sort of flat, maybe it's kind of tiny in size, small to small, medium in size, that you don't need. So this is something that's going to be a part of your artwork. So it's something you no longer need or no longer want, but something that says something about you, something that like tells a story. So let's say if you chew gum all the time, maybe there's a particular gum that you like, maybe a wrapper from that, or an empty container from that gum. If you're an artist and a creative, maybe a paintbrush, or maybe a crayon, or a pencil. If you like nature, maybe a flower or a piece of nature. So I want you to go around your house and look through that. Look through your things and choose 5 to 10 of these small to medium, small to small medium objects. So here's some examples. This is a heart that my daughter, she loves to make squishies. She just loves to do all kinds of crafts, but this is one that she made for me. It's a little squishy heart. It's light in nature. It's like small, medium in size. This could be a perfect example of an object that I could use in my artwork because it means something to me. It says something about who I am, says that I'm a mom. I love hearts. I have always drawn them ever since I was a kid. I think a lot of us do. But then also my daughter made this for me, so it's very special to me. So this is an example of what I could use. Bobby pin. These are pretty much part of my entire culture and existence. Used them all my life. They mean a lot to me as far as like hair and doing hair. I saw this, just again, this random, but it's like a superhero stamp. Kind of like that. Represents for me strength and power. And then this I found at a thrift store, and I don't know if you can see, but it is a horoscope symbol. It's a Taurus horoscope, and that represents my horoscope. So these are just some examples, right? I'm going to show you in a minute my final piece, and you'll see how I created that in the other video. But I have some other objects that I used as well. So again, just go around your house, look for 5 to 10 of these things, you know, things that represent you, things that may be meaningful, but really things that have no purpose. Like in the sense that like you've just kind of been laying around, you haven't really been using them. And this is a great way to kind of put this in all together into this project. So this word art piece really is a mixed media piece, meaning that there's lots of different types of art mediums that are going into this piece to finally create it. So we're using watercolor. You know, today we're going to be using the supplies like the glue and the paper, and then these objects that you're adding. In addition, you know, if you want to get creative and, you know, add colored markers or colored pencil, or add more paint or tissue paper, all of these things. So ultimately this project is a mixed media piece. So I hope that makes sense. So those are the things, just kind of trying to describe the things that you're going to be needing for this piece. You're also going to need some markers, so make sure you have some markers with you. I would say also try to have like one black marker or a darker colored marker, so that you can go over some of your writing, and you will need a pencil. Okay. So those are sort of like the additional things that you're going to be doing for the project. Also wanted to talk about so what your stuff should be looking like. So in the video that Miss Bulls just uploaded, the creation piece, it talks about changing your word art. So from the creation of brainstorming and writing sentences to then designing these ideas of how you might want to write your words. And then after that, choosing which one is your favorite by putting a star on it. And so eventually it goes from this grid of these 4 different word art designs to then just this one design that you've decided is going to be the final design that's going to go on your backgrounds, on the background part that you're going to paint. Okay. And then, so yeah, so that's it. So these materials, the rest of the materials in your bag, your 5 found objects, 5 to 10 small to medium found objects. You're going to need that. You're going to need this. So this completed thing, this word arts piece, and your completed background painting, a few markers, and a pencil, and maybe some scissors. But even with the paper, you don't necessarily have to use scissors. You could rip and tear. So yeah, so that's what you're going to need for today's creation. And then the other thing that I wanted to talk about today was that after you do all of this, right? So after you create your final piece, then there's also this inside of your bag. And I showed this during day 1. Okay, so it's this black bag and it has a little checklist on it. So once you're done doing everything, so after you finish your word arts video 1, word art video 2, and your piece is finally created. So this is my final creation. This bag is to collect all of the things that come back to me. And it has on this piece of paper a checklist to remind you of what that is. So it says the camera, your SD card. So if you happen to take out the card and maybe download pictures, if you know how to do that to your computer for whatever reason, make sure that the card is back in there. Make sure the battery is in there. The camera case, all of the things that came with the camera, that goes inside of this bag. Your photo journal sheet, so the sheets that you use to write your And of course, Miss Delgado, that's the one thing Miss Delgado does not have right now to show you, but you should know what that is now. The photo journal paper that you wrote all of your JPEG images, that needs to go inside the bag. And then your final word art piece needs to go inside the bag. And so once you're done with everything, then you're going to put that inside the bag, and that is what's going to be brought back to the school. Okay? So again, it's going to be the camera, the photo journal sheets that you wrote all of your JPEG numbers down on, and then your best part word art. That's going to go inside the bag, and it's going to be brought to the school next week sometime. Okay? So again, this video was just to talk about these things, just so that they're a little bit more clear, and hopefully you understand the expectation for creating your word art. So I broke it up in 2 days because it is a lot of steps, and you know, some of you might be able to do this really easily if you're really creative. Others, it may be a little bit harder if you're more concrete in thinking, because it is more of an abstract sort of thought. But do the best that you can. You know, it would be nice to have these 5 to 10 objects included, you know, on your piece. Because it does, as you can see in this final piece, it does add an element to it. But, you know, if you don't feel comfortable, that's okay too. As you can see, Miss Delgado added a little piece of nature to hers. She added a quarter that has a significant meaning. It's very symbolic to her. This has something to do with her dad. Again, some things that remind me of my daughter. She made this for me out of glue stick. A little star like piece of something, a seashell. My daughter and I, we travel often. Now we can't, but whenever we do travel, we always try to find shells and rocks, and we put it in a special bowl in our house as like a collection and reminder of the things that we do. So those were some of the objects. As you can see, the word art piece, so this final design that I created, I thought to myself how I wanted to lay it out, and so I laid that out on my backgrounds paper. And then I even went a step further. In addition, I used some of the ripped up, so I took some of the paper, the colored paper here, and instead of using scissors, I just ripped it up, and then I just thought to kind of use it here in this way. And then I also went a step further, and I cut out some magazine images. So there's some magazine images that are there. Added a little bit of squiggly lines with some color marker there. I don't know if you can see. In the video, I've also showed like closer sections so that you can see it more in detail. And then what I noticed is that when I cut out the flamingo, that I was getting this sort of flamingo shape from the magazine, and so I just used that cutout piece as almost kind of like a stamp with the glue, to sort of kind of create some patterns around the piece. But yeah, so that's basically what you're gonna have when you finish. Your words, your objects, some paper, and some kind of drawings of color and pattern and paint. So I hope that you have a good time creating this piece. It's probably, outside of taking photographs, mixed media work is like my favorite type of art to do. So I really enjoy it a lot. I think it can be really meaningful, very symbolic of you and who you are and your best part and why, if you're intentional and thoughtful about the creation. Again, after this video, I'd like for you to watch the actual creation part, so that this way you can finish creating your piece. Once you're done, then you're going to put your photo journal, your word art piece, and all of your camera supplies into the black bag that also has a checklist to remind you of what to do, your name, camera number, and your checklist. And then you put it all in the bag, and then this is what goes, the bag with the stuff inside is what goes back to the school and will eventually come back to me. I think that that's it as far as things to talk about. You know, it's different to kind of teach this way for me because it's my first time doing this virtual sort of way. And so, you know, it's definitely different when you're meeting people and talking to them and learning who they are and having deeper conversations. So in that sense, I'm sorry that we weren't able to have that kind of connection, but I hope that you at least got some insight about me and who I am. And I hope that that has helped you to sort of be able to think about you and who you are and how to create based on that. It was really a pleasure, and I am grateful to have this experience, even if it's a virtual one. I hope that you enjoyed working with me and learning from me, and I hope that the things that you learned and experienced with me throughout the time that we were together are skills that are not only for this particular project, but skills that you can take with you throughout your life, whether it's, you know, through taking pictures or even creating art, or understanding what symbolism means and how to use that and other things like writing and reading. Maybe you're a poet, and so having a deeper understanding of that and being able to talk about that, you know, as you move on and as you grow. One memory that I like to share a lot with students is that when I was a kid, I remember one of the things I remember most in my 5th grade, it was either my 5th or 6th grade year, there was an artist group, and I guess they're called teaching artists, that came into my school and taught acting, and we did a musical, and then we were able to perform that musical off of Broadway. And it's kind of ironic because when I went to school, I didn't think I wanted to be a teacher, but I think it's just sort of full circle that I remember that experience. That's one of the things that I distinctly remember as a kid. And so you having this experience, hopefully this will be something that you'll hold on to as you grow and remember. And maybe it'll come full circle for you, and maybe you'll become a photographer, or maybe you'll become a teaching artist, or maybe this experience will help, again, mold and create who you are. So I hope you have a great weekend. Enjoy your summer. Be safe, be healthy, be happy, and be creative. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.